If you didn't listen to part 1, the link is below. Let's get started with part 2. Our Ask Male Redditors: Would you date a single mom? Why or why not? My first serious girlfriend was a single mom. She was 19 and I was 22. I thought because I loved her, that I could put aside my uncertainty about being a stepdad. I learned over the course of the year, that I was not at all mature enough to handle what comes with that. As soon as I realized my happiest times with her was whenever the kid wasn't around. I knew it was doomed and we broke up a few weeks later. One of the hardest things in life is to be self-aware enough and objective enough to know when something is not meant for us. There are a lot of really great things in this world, but most of them aren't the right thing for me. And that doesn't make them any less great. It's amazing that you had the wherewithal to realize this was not meant for you. Never again. Helping raising a kid for 2 years to one day never even saying goodbye, and they're just gone. Worst ducking feeling I've ever had in my life. I will never forget that kid just wanting to ducking say hi to me, and his mom telling him to hold on while I gave her the rest of her things. I got in my car, and cried so hard after that. He just wanted to say hi, because I hadn't seen him for days. I had to vanish out of a kid's life that I loved with all of my heart, without him having any understanding of why the most important man in his life, from the time he was a year old, was gone. I will never not hurt from it. I will never not wonder how he's doing, wonder what he's like, how well he's learning, the sports he's into. I just had to become a ghost. I actually understand your pain. I had a similar experience with a guy and his daughter. She was my kid for a year, 2 years at start and 3 at the end. Braided her hair, taught her to write her name, cooked her food, read to her at nap time, swam with her, ran around playgrounds with her, etc. After the breakup, I was in my favorite kitchen goods store, and they had this cute drinking cup that I thought she'd love. And then I had to remind myself that I no longer buy her things, because I no longer see her. My heart broke all over again. I gave myself a few years to say no to men with kids. I needed to heal. I hope you've healed from it. Sending you positive vibes regardless. Dating is hard. When a kid that doesn't understand it is in the middle of it, my heart couldn't take it again. If he was my son, I'd still see him, but since I had no relation, the second she left, I disappeared from his life. My heart is still so very heavy to this day. Knowing that he probably asked where I was or said he missed me after they left. Not knowing why I'm gone. Breaks my heart. I will never do it to another kid again. I'm terrified of it. I loved that kid, and watching his confusion as I faded away will forever hurt me. Even though one day, he won't even remember me. Edit, I'll just add this into here. She was a good mom. I think that he'll be okay and that she truly always did what she thought was best for him, and I will always respect that. She didn't steal him away from me, and I understand that me being in his life any longer than the relationship I had with his mother was never going to be in anyone's best interest. Sometimes things happen, and people aren't meant to be together. Just miss the little guy, and the feeling that having a family truly can bring. Going through it right now. Have a kid 4 with her, and 2 stepkids 5 and 7. Been with her, and the kids for 5 years. The bio dad isn't in their life at all, and I'm the only dad they've ever known. She's cheating on me, and I have to leave. The house, the kids, except my biological son, because she will be with another man and the kids will be confused, the family dog, all of it poof gone. It's sickening she's willing to throw it all away for a guy that lives halfway across the country, and comes to visit his family here on holidays. Duck her. Damn, that hurts my soul. My biggest fear on the world is losing a family I created. Before reading this thread I was ambivalent, but this story makes me feel much more strongly that my answer is no. This, to a lesser degree, is how coaching works. I've worked with such wonderful kids. When their parents decide to move, or they move on from the sport, or graduate and can no longer compete, they disappear. I don't get to say goodbye to most of them. Sometimes they learn the things they were trying to learn from me, so we had a fully successful series of lessons, and they vanish. I'll see someone years after, when they compete and I'm far back in the crowd and I'll want to cry from both pride over their accomplishments and sadness that I don't get to work with them and help them learn further. When that kid has screamed and jumped into my arms with excitement from learning a massive new skill and has cried on my shoulder because a significant other cheated on them and they can't focus on the lesson, then they just up and disappear, it's tough. You really invest in these kids, and you want nothing but to see them succeed. I'm sorry, friend. What I've felt for many students, you've felt even more deeply for one child. I get it. Blessings, coach. I guess I never got that attached to mine. Saw it more as a service. But, you mentioned things I had to leave out. More remotely coached sport and different personalities, I guess. Holy shit, dude. Hope you are taking care of yourself. I cannot even imagine how bad that sucks. Breaking up with somebody I loved was bad enough. But not getting to see a child I helped raise would gut me. I dated a single mom for a while. 2 kids, ages 2 and 6. Broke up because, well, she wasn't really a good mom. She let her mother, the children's grandmother, basically do everything, and she was very hands-off. I just couldn't be around that situation. Felt bad for the kids, but at least the grandma seemed to be doing a decent job. You should have started dating the grandma. Nah, Gam had a pancake butt. I was recently dated a woman over long distance who had 11-year-old twins, that I thought I had amazing chemistry with, until I decided to visit her, and I saw how selfish and egocentric she was as a parent towards her kids. She would frequently call the girl a female dog, more behind her back but a few times to her face, for just doing the normal preteen shit like pouting. Talked like they were kind of big problem she had to put up with, like it was their fault she slept with someone and got pregnant. I was completely turned off and the magic feeling faded fast. Every time I tried to have an earnest conversation, she would pick fights over completely unrelated stuff or mince words or put words in my mouth, and completely put up a wall. She didn't want any feedback from anyone and wanted to just live in a bubble that her kids were terrible and it's their fault her life is so hard and that the only way to deal with it is to be extremely hard on them and make them cry nearly daily. I should also point out that I am a childcare professional. I teach preschool, which is different than preteens, but I'm educated in pedagogy, and have nannied kids as old as her twins. I have a lot of knowledge and just wanted to offer alternate viewpoints as constructively as I could. I felt awful because her kids absolutely love me and I got along great with them. Pretty classic narcissist qualities in that mom. You left for all the right reasons. I hope their father is in the picture. I also shudder to think how she talked to those kids when you weren't around. I was asked out by a woman that I thought was a few years older than me. After dating a bit, she asked me to dinner. I show up, and she had 2 teenage kids. I finally asked how old she was, and she was 10.5 years older than me, for a steak dinner, to which she said that if I did not like it, she would make me something else. I had never heard those words before, lol. Long story short, we got married, had 2 kids of our own. Unfortunately, after almost 12 years of marriage, I lost her to cancer. Our daughters are now adults, and we're doing well. After reading so many negative experiences, I figured I would have at least one positive one. I will do it all over again, even knowing the outcome. Edit, thanks for the awards. Oddly enough, she would have been 59 years old today. Edit 2, again, thanks for the awards. I did not expect to see a moment in my life to get this much attention. Someone did ask below about her kids. One is doing amazing, the other was improving and making her life better after some not so good choices. I do love them both, as if they were my own. You are a hero, bro. Cheers to you and all of your beautiful kids. The world needs more men like you, not like me lol. Thanks. The heart wants what the heart wants. I don't feel like a hero, but just a guy who met the one. Nope, definitely not ready for a kid. It's not just am I ready for a kid, it's also do I want to have a kid with this person. That's a major step in a relationship. Dating someone with a kid jumps right past that question entirely. It's also can I have a decent enough relationship with this third person that I didn't choose who potentially has a difficult relationship with the person I actually want to be with. I'm a step-parent and my husband is great, My stepdaughter is amazing, but bio mom is a nightmare, and I'm not sure I would have chosen this if I'd known the extent of it. It certainly is easier when the bio parent is a piece of shit. My oldest, technically not mine, and I had a rough go at first because she was scared of men hurting her mom emotionally and physically. Wife had a bad run there for a second. One day she was excited to see me come home from a class, and run up to me saying, "You're home." Wife worked a job that had awful hours. I was in college at the time, went later in life due to other obligations, and we left them with grandma. I guess she hated her rules or something because that day I became more tolerable than grandma lol. She and I are super close now, but she is almost 18 and starting to pave her own path. Shit is rocky and uneven as all hell, but she is doing it with the right tools. I like to think I helped that out. She's pretty dope though. Scared the shit out of her boyfriend lol. All I said was, "I know I don't have to tell you how to treat my daughter with respect, right? She's a smart kid though." Exactly this. If I go on dates with someone for several months, I will start entertaining the idea whether I'd ever want to have a child with that person, or be in that kind of relationship with them. Then I'd wait for several years before taking our relationship to that level. Yes, I know that many single parents aren't looking for a second parent to their child, but that's pretty inevitably what it becomes, unless I'm just supposed to be the guy who sneaks into her place after the kid has fallen asleep. I have a friend that complains she's single constantly, but has 3 kids with 3 different dudes. She just doesn't understand the huge level of commitment that is for someone. I met a girl that had 8 kids with all different men. As you could guess, she was a real class act. I believe she only had custody of only 1 or 2 of the newer ones. Also, as a dude, I feel like the question changes a lot if the person I would be dating had 3 kids with 1 partner compared to 3 kids with 3 partners. I've been dating a girl for 6 months, things have overall gone pretty well, but she has recently started pushing hard about whether or not I want to have a kid with her, not immediately, but she's talking within the next year. Neither of us are financially stable, neither of us own a home. The idea of it is insane to me. It's probably going to end our relationship, because I'm absolutely not going to entertain the idea of having kids with her anytime in the near future. She's really freaking out about it and won't let it go. Sending me pictures of babies, every phone call ends up talking about babies, the baby fever is real, and it's killing our relationship. Now I'm kind of worried to even have sex with her because I'm afraid she'll take the matter into her own hands and do her best to force it. It's wild. Sounds like you need to have a serious conversation before you wind up being a parent before you're ready. And she sounds slightly unhinged. Get the duck out now. Edit. Also, no sex, don't even think about it, end it yesterday. I have nothing but respect for that stance. Knowing you aren't ready, or willing, to be a parent is a very important thing to understand about yourself. Once a child is involved, it's easy to look past the idea that you have to build a relationship with this new person, and show them what safety and security looks like. Being a parent is maintaining more than one relationship, and if you aren't prepared for that, well, often, I think, it's best not to go about it. I dated a woman with kids once and swore to never do it again. I stayed with her longer than I should have because I loved the kids even long after I knew it wasn't working with the mother. Breaking up with the kids was harder than breaking up with her. Yup, literally went bankrupt trying to support her and her kids while she took advantage of the situation. Just couldn't do it to the kids to break it off with their mom before Christmas, so ended up giving them an awesome Christmas, then broke it off. Had this exact same situation. Dated a gal for about a year, and just loved her 2 kids, who she always seemed to be burdened by. She lost her job to mental health stuff, and her mother, and I started supporting her, and the kids. She grew more toxic, unfortunately, and I eventually had to say goodbye to her. She didn't even let me say goodbye to the kids. Dino, Alice, I hope you guys are doing well. You were super ducking cool kids. I miss you a lot. A lot. I have a rule. I don't meet the kids until at least 1 year. Or, I feel like we are really going somewhere. I'm super serious about it. If that means I see you less, so be it. The heartbreak is too much. I wish my ex would understand this. She will have them around our kids soon as they start even dating. Like the first week he's already staying at her apartment. She thinks I'm being controlling by asking her not to bring guys around our daughter. I've tried explaining to her she needs more stability in her life, and doesn't need people ripped out of her life when they don't work out. A couple of them have had kids as well that my daughter has become friends with. Not to mention her seeing mommy with different guys every couple months. It's so frustrating. Dated this guy with a son. Loved his son so much. The guy I was dating became emotionally distant, and basically ignored me until I broke up with him, then immediately moved on to someone else. I suspect he was cheating/trying to cheat. I never got to say goodbye to his son, who already had issues with his mother abandoning him and then returning later in life. I always think about him, how I hope he doesn't think I just abandoned him too. In that kid's eyes, I had just spent a weekend with him playing video games and then randomly never showed up again. Never again. Not going to date someone, accept their child as my own, only to have them ripped away from me. Felt like I lost my own kid. Edit, I spent my last weekend with the kid, I didn't only spend one weekend with him. Knew him 2.5 years since he was 2. I married a girl with 2 kids who were very young when we met. When we split, it took a bit, but the kids came, and lived with me. They struggled with her, and the court saw she was unfit. I love them like my own, and have wonderful grandchildren from them. You, my friend, are a class act. We should all aspire towards such love and understanding. Dated a girl who already had a kid when I was like 19. When I came into the picture she was 2 years old, and for the 2 years we were together I was super stepdad. There came a point where her mom started working third shifts, so I was with her daughter every morning while she slept, and every night while she was at work. I felt like a single parent to a child that wasn't biologically mine. Obviously we had the extra income from her mom working, but the schedule was bad for our relationship as we never got to spend any time together. I eventually realized that despite how much I loved her, I was incredibly unhappy with my life circumstance and broke things off with her mom. Got in too far over my head at too young of an age. I think she should be 7 years old now and I still think about her a lot. I hate that I even got myself involved to begin with, since in the end I was the one that walked away. Feel your hurt. I think about the kids of my ex often. Been years, but the littlest things can trigger a memory. All good lol, but it's a strange dynamic. This resonated so hard. I loved being a stepdad. In fact, she even loved my cooking more than her mother's. Made me feel like I was worth something to someone finally. That was the most emotionally brutal breakup I've experienced to date. Never again.